Edit.10 again. Last tutorial I show you guys how to work with detailed links. Okay, we have edit links, but we didn't implement yet. But we have the back to the list links. Today, I go back to here because we are working with the CRUD. So last time I show you guys how to work with the read, and today in this tutorial I'll show you how to work with the update and delete. First of all, I'm going to show you how to work with the edit. Alright, go back to of course, before we want to show whatever we want, we have to work with controllers first. I prepare before for you guys. Now that's for a create. Okay, edit and boom, get and post. Okay. Alright, here we go. So I talk about the guest first. Here we have request mapping, right? We map to edit album, and this is the view we want. We should work with the view. I will show you later. First of all, alright, let me test it. No. I like it. Alright, sorry about that. I just wanted testing what's going on with the zoom in, zoom out. Alright, this one is for the edit album and get, for the get function. First of all, okay, this is the name of the function, and the return type is string. Parameter, we have the ID of the album. Hopefully you guys know it. We need that one because if you want to edit an album, you need information of that album, and we always use the primary key to looking for the album object. So I choose, we always use that one, but you know, depend on you and depend on what the purpose, so we can make it looking for the object by the other parameters. But in this one I used the key one is the album ID. So over here we have to know the ID of that album, the one we want to change the information. And of course we cannot miss this one, model map, and the name of variable is model, a locker. And I want to create one album, and I code that object is my album, and that one is the album object. Right, I call the album models to find, see, I use a function inside the album model to find that album, and I put the parameters the edit album, this one, see. Alright, it's highlight, right? This one. and I will put the edit album over here and call one function from the models and looking for that album object. Okay, and I want a list of genre, a list of artists. I think you familiar with this function and this function. Hopefully I mentioned it before, so they are not strangers over here. And I put one again, the purpose over here, I want it because let me see, I put up the tutorial. Now let's see. Now hopefully inside this one we have it. Alright, why I want this the genre list and the artist list over here. Okay, edit, see, we want to create this one. And you see the genre list over here, we have drop down list, and the artist we have drop down list. So we want them for to let the user or to let the manager to choose which one they use for the new album or the existing album. Alright, so I just mentioned why we used genre list and artist list. After that, right, as I mentioned before, we put the genre list and the album list to the view. Okay, we always prepare that. For model artist list, okay, we okay, this one is different. I put it here, because I don't want you guys confused, and I confuse myself too. Alright, so put into the view. Next we're looking for the genre. Okay, select genre and select artist, my album, get genre by ID, and my album, get genre by ID, and get name. Is mean this one, if we can find when we find this album, I want to know the genre name and the artist name. Why? Because I want to put it here and put it here. When the user click in, it will show is over here. Okay, that's the reason why I want the genre name and the artist name. And of course those here I will put later inside the view. Why I want, because the drop down list always show the first item in the list. I don't want show the first item on the list because they are not belong to this album, so I don't want to show. Alright, and model attribute, so I here, this one is used to put the my album, the whole object into the view. Okay, so that I'm done with the get. Now do the post. Alright, post, the values, the value for the request mapping is the same. Method we will change the post, and I changed again, you can put any name for your function, but you have to know what the function is for. Okay, I'm sorry, I should put a documentation over here. Okay, using mapping, edit album, get. Okay, this for is the same with whatever we do. And this one, okay, mapping, edit album, here. Alright, yeah, you can tell over here what parameter we have. First one, we need the album URL. This means here, okay, all of them are parameters of one object, album, right? See, we have album ID, genre ID, artist ID, title, price, and album URL. Over here we should have them: album URL, price, title, right? Genre, select genre, artist selected. This means they are belong to I will show you guys why I put the name like this, but all of them are parameters, and they are belong to one object, album object. Edit album. Edit album is the object we put from the get over here, and edit album, right? See, so this means look at inside the database. We can 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the 7th one is the object itself. Okay, clear? Alright, now take a look at inside the function and parameters over here. This one is album URL. We used request parameters over here. See, album URL string. That's one, the type of the variable is string. Price, put a string, or we can use it. We will convert the price into a double later. Request title, here title, right? See, request parameter is title, price. Where we get it, we can tell where we can find it inside entity albums over here. Yeah, album ID, title, price. See, lowercase, album URL, and continue. Genre selected. Okay. This. Okay. the last one is so special. Is not request parameter because they are not. This one is not parameter. It is the selected album that we want to edit. Alright, so we have to change to modal attribute. It's special, don't forget it. It's the same. We need the object we want to edit, alright, and the genre, file genre by ID, and selected genre. This one is this. Alright, if the manager want to change the genre rock into classic or something, it will get the variable in here, the value inside the drop down list, and put in here genre is selected, and it's returned when the manager click on here, and is sent back to the controller by the ID of that genre, and we use that ID to find that genre, so we can find the genre object. Okay, it's the same. So my album set, it means I try to find the album I want to edit, right? Okay, so if I have that genre, I change. It means the user, the manager changed the genre over here already, so I will get the new information put into my album. Is let the system know that the object will change the genre. Same, we use artist over here. The artist will return to the controller by the artist ID. Here, and I get that ID. I use that ID to find that artist. Okay, and I set the new artist into my album that I want to change. So in the other way, it means I change the album information. Okay, and this one I set the title. Title. Okay, I set the title inside the tag. Okay, and what else? We just pass this, right? And how about this? Set price. See, I told you I get information from the price here. Okay, and I parse it into double, and I set the information of the new price into the album that I want to change. If the manager change the price over here, it will change. You get that price and put it in here. If the manager doesn't change anything, still keep get that information and put here, and it doesn't change. It means it just get whatever we have over here and put into my album object. And the same with the URL. I think I should put it here. Oh no, let's see, genre, artist, title. What I have? Set. What is that? You set artist. Okay. Genre first and artist. Okay. Where am I genre? Okay, I set the artist and I set the genre here, right? Oh no, genre first. I set the genre, I set the artist, I set the title. Where title? Okay, got put it here. Set the price, and album URL. Okay, happy. And after we set everything for my album, it means this album object will have the newest information from the manager. The last step, we have to call the album model to edit my album object. This means I will send this album to my model and ask it, and then ask the model change information of my the album that I want to change. Okay. So we have to take a look at the models. Album model, right? Album model. Where the edit? Okay, this one. Edit an album. Okay. One more time, please don't forget the transaction. And this function is we use inside the album model. We use that one to edit my album. Okay. Remember, the parameter is the album object. To return, we don't want to return anything because we just work with a database. Okay, and again I use the album get album by ID. This album, right? This album we use the ID of that album and apply that album inside the database and put into a new album. Okay, because we want to find that album inside the database. And again, we set the genre ID with the new ID. Basically, they will not change because why? Because we just want to edit the existing album. So this album and this the new album have the same ID. But I don't want. Okay. Oh no. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I get the genre ID. I'm sorry. I didn't see it clearly. We use this album and I get the genre ID.album and I set the genre ID to the new album. Okay, this means okay, I start is over. I create the new album object, and because I want to know which object I'm working on, so I use the file album ID function to looking for that album and I put into the new album over here. So technically this album okay, is the old album, so we want to put new information inside the old album. Okay, so first thing we have to work with the genre ID. So I put the album get album genre, right? I set the new genre ID into the old genre, the old album. Same, I will set the new artist ID into the old album object. I set the new title into the old title. I set the new price into the old price, and I set the old album URL into the new album URL into the old album. So we're done with create the new album object, and last step, as the system change the information inside the database, this command we use to change information inside the database. em.merge. Where's em? Em is entity managers over here. Hopefully we have it already. Okay, so we're done with controllers and model. How about the view? Edit album view, and we create inside the JSP folder, right? And we put the name is edit album, and it is the header inside. Before the header, we should have this one, JSTL, because we're working with the JSTL, and we should have form, because without a form we cannot get information in and out from controller. Okay, this one, and the head, title, edit album, link. This link is used for CSS. Okay, body, this one, header. Hopefully you guys know that the edit is heading. Okay, open the form and close the form. Inside the form we have to have model attribute here, edit album. Remember this one, the name of the model attribute should match over here. Store, go back to the controller. Still remember the model attribute over here? They should match. If you don't match them, you cannot do anything, believe me. And command, I tried to not use this one, but it didn't work, so please put it in case if you don't use it. I don't know what will happen, but for my system I need the command name edit album, and again this one and this one should match the name, and the action is the address that we will put in the URL. See, StoreManager edits, and for our system is different. Store music store, MVC music store, Spring, StoreManager, edit album, and we need the ID of the album, edit album ID, right? So we need them. Let's go back to controller. MVC music store, Spring, StoreManager, edit album, right? From here to here is the address where we're looking for that page, and from here to here is information, edit album ID. We need that one for in the order to looking for the album object. Okay, so the variable name is edit album ID, and the value is edit album, right? Because we put here album, this one. See, they should match. Now where my view? Alright, and that album ID again, you have to look inside the album object, album entity, and we have album ID over here. See, so we have, say, edit album. I have that object, and I want to get that object ID. Clear. Fill set is used for this one. This fill set, and I want the width is 300 pixel. January is the head. Okay, from here to here is select, and I put that select name is January select. This means I'm creating the drop down list over here. And I use it for each January's. Remember, inside the controllers, in the get, of course we have in the get over here, looking for the list of the January and the list of artists over here, and I put the list of January into the model, remember? Okay, and we have, when we create the list, we can find the list over here. I put the second parameter. The first one is just a name, but carefully we have to match the name inside the view. See? Okay. Items is the list of January, and I put var over here. Is mean each, for each, right? Each item inside this one, I put the name of each one is my January. Okay, for the option, it means the items inside. See, the item inside the drop down list over here is the option. I put between the option tag. Okay, and the value of each item is January ID, my January, right? My January here dot January ID. It means the value is the ID of that January. Okay, but this one, I use this one for display correctly. Go back to the list. See, normally if you don't put this one inside the option, it will show you the first item inside the list, but I use this one, it will show exactly what is the January, the artist of that object. Go back here. See, okay, the January of this object is rock, the artist is accept, right? Put edit, see, January and accept. If you don't believe me, get rid of this one, you see it will show the first item of the list is rock, and the first item is CDC. Okay, and see, this one is closed for the open option, and this one is closed for the option. Between them, between the open and close, it will display for us. It will display the name. See, my January.name. This will display the name, but is return the January ID. It show the name, but it return the ID. For the same with the artist, with the same. Okay, we put the name different with this one. We still use this select, and we use the for each item is the list of the artist, and where we get this list inside the controller, and the name variable is my artist, and again value is the ID. I use this one to show the real artist of that album, and I show the name. I just show the name, return the ID. So I'm done with these two. Next one is title. Okay, just name the x3 name, and I use the input to put the name, the title of that album. Okay, I use form input. The name of that input is text title, and where I get that information, go to title. Get this album entity title. Next, same the input, the path is go to price, album URL, go to album URL, get it. And the submit, the input type is submit. It means this one, when this one is submit, and the name of that button is self. And I close the field set, I close the form. This one is extract to back to the list, see, and the address I want to come back is StoreManager. Clear? So everything, I hope everything we need for edit the album, show everything. Okay, and right now I want to come back to the list and show you guys that it's working. Controllers, model, view, perfect, and see how it's working. Okay, for the first one, I want to edit it, and I want to change the genre is jazz, and the artist I want is about Black Label Society, and the title is my first edit, and the price is 100 URLs and put gas and move self. Okay, see, okay, change, right? How about this? I want to edit this one, and I don't want the artist is accept. I want bodyguard. Okay, or say Gun and Rose. Okay, save it. Let's go then. British, right? And the artist is Gun and Rose. Alright, hopefully you guys can follow me, and I apologize some mistake inside tutorial, but until now, hopefully you guys can edit the album. Thank you very much.